ICU beds per 100,000 people, which is the best there is, compared with roughly 12.5 beds per 100,000 in Italy, 11.6 beds in France, 9.7 beds in Spain. Think of that, 34.7 we have, and 6.6 in the UK. There are more than 60,000 ventilators at hospitals and other healthcare facilities that are not in use at this moment. They didn't need them. We got a lot of them out, and they didn't need them. And that's a good thing that they didn't need them. But a lot of good brain power was involved in making a lot of fantastic decisions. I want to thank our Vice President for the task force, and I want to thank all members of your task force on having done an incredible job. You really have done an incredible job. Thank you, Mike, very much. Through this new partnership with the hospitals, unused ventilators will voluntarily lend them where they have unused ventilators. They will voluntarily lend those ventilators to other hospitals and other areas of greater need. Within the last several days, more than 20 of our nation's largest health systems have already pledged more than 4,000 ventilators should we need them. And I've been told that if they need more, there are more there. We're going to be helping very soon when the supply really starts pouring in, which started, but will really start about less than a month. We're going to be helping other countries, and they need it very badly. They have no chance without these ventilators. They have to have ventilators. As we continue our medical war against the virus, the FDA has now authorized the first test developed by researchers from Rutgers University that can use saliva from patients. It's the first one. These tests can be self-administered by patients in healthcare settings, which will reduce exposure for medical workers and save personal protective equipment. Rutgers will begin processing 10,000 tests daily. So by using saliva, that's the first. They'll be able to do things in terms of speed and ease that we haven't been able to do before. So a lot of great innovation is taking place during this period of time, and that's innovation. I call it innovation under pressure. There's a big difference. Innovation under pressure, right? Cleveland Clinic knows all about that. As we prepare for the next phase of this great struggle, we must also do everything in our power to restore prosperity for the American worker. There's tremendous interest and excitement surrounding the administration's efforts to get the economy roaring once again, and I think it's going to roar once it gets open. I think it's going to go up tremendously. You see what's happening with the stock market already, because a lot of the very smart financial people, the great minds, they're looking at the stock and they're saying, wow, because what they're really seeing is how we're doing. If we weren't doing well, the market wouldn't be at a level that it is today. They have a lot of confidence that we're doing the right thing and that our country is going to be open soon and our country is going to be booming. We've had requests to participate from the best in the world as we share their enthusiasm to get our country going. So I thank them for wanting to contribute, and we look forward to speaking with many industry leaders, seeking their input on how we can return to what was until very recently the greatest economy anywhere in the world, and I can say the greatest economy in the history of the world. There's never been an economy like we had just a little bit more than a month ago. We set every record you could set. More people working than we've ever had working before, almost 160 million. The best unemployment numbers we've ever had, and the best employment numbers we've ever had. Everybody was doing well. Stock market at a record. 142 days it hit a record. And I think we're going to top those records, okay? And I think we're going to top them soon, once we get rid of the invisible enemy, which will happen. The plans to reopen the country are close to being finalized, and we will soon be sharing details and new guidelines with everybody. I will be speaking to all 50 governors very shortly, and I will then be authorizing each individual governor of each individual state to implement a reopening and a very powerful reopening plan of their state at a time and in a manner as most appropriate. The day will be very close because certain states, as you know, are in much different condition and in a much different place than other states. It's going to be very, very close, maybe even before the date of May 1st. So that will be for some states. Actually, there are over 20 that are in extremely good shape, and we think we're going to be able to get them open fairly quickly, and then others will follow. The federal government will be watching them very closely, and we'll be there to help. We'll be there to help in many different ways, as we've been, where we built hospital beds at a number that nobody's ever seen before, where we did the ventilators that we just discussed at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody can even believe. Other foreign countries, even powerful countries, can't believe what we were able to do with ventilators. Big, powerful countries, big producing countries can't believe what we were able to do. We will hold the governors accountable. But again, we're going to be working with them to make sure it works really well. Now, we have a list of people that I'll be speaking to over the next very short period of time, in many cases tomorrow. We're going to have elected officials, and we'll be submitting that list to you within the next 24 hours. But we have a list of different industries that I'll be discussing by meeting by telephone because we don't want people traveling right now. The American Farm Bureau Federation, Zippy Duval, Cisco Systems, Tyson Foods, Purdue Farms, Cargill, Archer Daniels, Midland Company, Corteva, Tractor Supply Company, Seaboard Corporation, Grimway Farms, Mount Air Farms, and others in the agricultural business. In banking, it's Bank of America. Brian Moynihan's been great. J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bancorp, Morgan Stanley, James Gorman, Grand Rapids State Bank, Southern Bancorp, all great institutions with lots to say and lots of good ideas. And if you look at how Paycheck has been working out, the numbers are incredible, and I hope Congress is going to be able to supplement the amount of money going to our workers. I hope they're able to get that done very quickly because it's been an incredible success. And many are already spending that money, and the money's been distributed at numbers that nobody believed possible for this short period of time. It was only a week ago. But a lot of money has been distributed already. It's going to keep our small businesses open. The Construction Labor Workforce International Union of Operating Engineers, Jim Callahan. North America Building Trades Union, Sean McGarvey. These are a lot of friends of mine. Laborers International Union of North America, Terry O'Sullivan. International Brotherhood of Teamsters, James Hoffa. National Electrical Contractors Association, David Long. Bechtel, Floor. National Association of Home Builders. Association of Builders and Contractors. Associated General Contractors. Richard Trumpka, AFL-CIO. G.H. Palmer. So these are some of the unions, pretty much almost all of the ones that will be on the line. In defense, we have Lockheed Martin, Honeywell, Northrop Grumman. These are all the top of each company, CEOs, chairmen, presidents. Raytheon, General Dynamics. Energy, we had a tremendous success recently with energy over the weekend. It finished with tremendous credit going to Russia and Saudi Arabia, and it could be as much as 20 million barrels a day, a cut, so that we can get rid of some of the tremendous excess oil that's been produced because of the fact that the virus just knocked out almost 50% of the business. It's been an amazing achievement. Some people say one of the biggest oil deals ever made, maybe the biggest oil deal ever made, they're saying. I didn't know that but we were involved in getting that done, and it was very important. We're going to save hundreds of thousands of jobs for our energy industry, Texas and North Dakota, Oklahoma, all of our different energy states. It's great. So we're very happy about it. I want to thank everybody. We had it's called OPEC Plus. That's OPEC Plus, meaning some nations outside of OPEC. And I also want to thank the president of Mexico because he was terrific. He showed great dexterity and flexibility in getting the deal done. We want to thank him very much. On the energy front, we had ExxonMobil, Continental Resources, Chevron, Southern Company, Alabama Power, ConocoPhillips, Occidental Petroleum, Kinder Morgan, Hess Corporation.
It's 13 hours.
And a few others, big ones, great ones. Financial services, we have Blackstone, Stephen Schwarzman, Paulson and Company, John Paulson, Citadel, Ken Griffin, Elliott Management, Paul Singer, Vista Equity Partners, Robert Smith, Fidelity Investments, Abigail Johnson, MasterCard, Visa, Chubb, Sequoia, Stevens, Warren Stevens, great. Charles Schwab, Chuck Schwab, will be here by phone. Food and Beverage, National Restaurant Association, McDonald's, Darden Restaurants, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Chick-fil-A, Subway, Bloomin' Brands, Yum Brands, Papa John's, Wendy's, Waffle House, Starbucks, Wolfgang Pup, Thomas Keller, Jean George, my friend Jean George, and Danielle. You know them. From the transportation world, FedEx, Fred Smith, a legend, United Airlines, Oscar Munoz, UPS, David Abney, J.B. Hunt, YRC Worldwide, Crowley Maritime, incredible, big, powerful shippers and transportation companies. In telecommunications, we have the legendary John Malone of Liberty Media, Verizon, T-Mobile, Charter Communications, and Brian Roberts of Comcast. Thank you all very much. Healthcare, New York Presbyterian, Jerry Spire, friend of mine, HCA Healthcare, Sam Hazen, thank you, Sam. Just met with Sam. Ascension Health, Common Spirit Health, Community Health Systems, Trinity Health, Cardinal Health, McKesson, 3M. Thank you, Mike Roman, for helping us with face masks. It worked out well for everybody. Procter & Gamble, Abbott Laboratories, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Pfizer, Eli Lilly, Thermo Fisher Scientific. They've been helping us incredibly with testing. Gilead Sciences, Abivax, Regeneron, Biogen, Roche, and Roche has been fantastic on testing. The job they've done, I have to call them out. They have stepped up like very few. Anthem, United Health Group, Aetna, Cigna, and Humana, all the big ones. The tech companies, we have the right ones. Apple, we have Tim Cook. Google, Sundar, thank you, Sundar. Oracle, Larry Ellison, and Safra Katz. Salesforce, Mark Benioff. SAP, SAP, Jen Morgan. Microsoft, Satya, great job he's done. Thank you, Satya. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. IBM, Intel, Qualcomm, Cisco, Advanced Micro Devices, Broadcom. Incredible companies that no other country will catch if they're smart. They have to be smart. But I've dealt with a lot of different countries, and I will say that the respect for Silicon Valley and our tech companies, there's nobody even close to our tech companies. They can't catch them, so they try and buy them. But we've sort of put an end to a lot of that. In sports, we want to get our sports back. So importantly, these will be some separate calls. Some will be together, by the way, lists, and some will be separate. But we have to get our sports back. I'm tired of watching baseball games that are 14 years old. But I haven't actually had too much time to watch. I would say maybe I watch one batter and then I get back to work. The NBA, Adam Silver. The Major League Baseball, we miss our baseball. This is baseball season right here. Rob Manfred, thank you very much. NFL, Roger Goodell, thank you, Roger. UFC, Dana White, great Dana White. PGA, Jay Moynihan. LPGA, Michael Wan. USTA, Patrick Galbraith. Major League Soccer, Don Garber. WWE, the great Vince McMahon. NASCAR, Lisa Kennedy. Thank you, Lisa. NHL, Gary Bettman. From the New England Patriots, Bob Kraft. Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban. And some of the thought leaders that we're going to have, and there are some others that we are having, we're just waiting to hear, but everybody's saying yes, I must say. John Allison, Heritage Foundation, Kay Cole James, great person. Hoover Institute, Condoleezza Rice, another great person. Art Laffer, Steve Moore, Steve Forbes, Larry Lindsay, Catherine Reynolds, Scott Gottlieb, just spoke with Scott, Jim DeMint, and Jim has been a terrific friend, Bill Haggerty and Ray Washburn. And religious leaders will be coming on Friday. We'll be speaking to, and we're going to have a separate list, but we have tremendous enthusiasm to meet by our great religious leaders. We have incredible people, and they want to be a part. And we'll be talking about churches, and we'll be talking about opening, and we'll be talking about things that are very important to a lot of people, including me. We're going to find out how we're doing in that regard. So those are the names that we have on our list. They're the names that are, I think, the best and the smartest, the brightest, and they're going to give us some ideas. But we're all set, as I said. The governors are going to be opening up their states. They're going to declare when. They're going to know when. Some can open very, very shortly, if not almost immediately. We'll give a date, but the date's going to be in the very near future. So we'll get it open. Individual states, when the governors will be held accountable. If they need things, we'll help them get those things, but we want them to do their testing. We want them because they're equipped to do testing. We've created incredible tests, and we've done more testing than anybody's ever done in the world right now. And we had a broken system, and now we have a great system. We have a system where other countries are coming to us and saying, we want to get some of those tests. I want to thank Abbott, because Abbott came up with the first simpler test. The first one was rough. I think it was more of an operation than a test. The first one was for anybody that took it. It was not easy. But now we have a very simple test with Abbott. Now we have saliva. We have lots of other things that are happening, but we have millions of tests. The governors are responsible. They have to take charge. They have to do a great job. And we're going to suggest that they check people through tests or otherwise coming into their states, and they run their states very strong. Eventually, we won't have to do that. Eventually, this will be gone. But for a while, we're going to do it. So they're going to take charge at their borders. They're going to take charge of people coming in, and maybe to an extent, depending on what they work out with a nearby state, it may be also people leaving. And they'll be able to do that very shortly. We'll be announcing a date, but it'll be very short. And frankly, it'll be at a time that will be earlier than the deadline that we imposed, the end of April. So we think that some of the governors will be in really good shape to open up even sooner than that. We'll speak to them, but we're all set. We're counting on the governors to do a great job. Others are going to have to take a longer period of time until they're in a position to say, we're ready to go, and that's okay. We understand that. Some of the governors have a very tough situation, but in almost all cases, it's all starting to come down. We're very proud of the job everybody's done. And if you look at the numbers, so the minimum, as portrayed, Deborah's here, Dr. Birx has been fantastic. The minimum was 100,000 deaths, and I hope to be substantially under the minimum, meaning we all hope, Mike, right? We all hope to be substantially under. We did the right thing because otherwise it would have been, the projections are 2 million people. The actual projection was 2.2 million people. And if you cut it in half, that would be 1.1 million people.